So how many of you still have answering machines? You know, I used to have an answering machine, and before caller ID, I would use it to screen the calls, right, of those whose voice I would know and want to speak with, and those that I might want to speak with later. It's one of my deep pastoral joys in this congregation when I call, and I know I'm going to get an answering machine. And all I need to do is keep talking till that person dries their hands, or they're going out the door and they, turn around. And so I just keep talking because I know that they will answer because they know my voice. And I've had several interactions this very last week where I called and I talking about the weather and just thinking of things to say, and inevitably they would pick up and say, I heard your voice and I came because you called. I know that I am not the good shepherd, but I have some pleasures of shepherding that are very dear to me. And it is such a joy when you recognize my voice and take up my call. I too have come to recognize your voices, and I know you by name. If you speak on Zoom, I recognize you. And so we are a people, a church, a gathered. And the more we give ourselves to one another, the more we belong to this flock that is under the guardianship of the Good Shepherd. This fourth Sunday, and every fourth Sunday in Eastertide, is called Good Shepherd Sunday. And all the readings will have shepherd imagery. I think it is a good time on the fourth Sunday of Easter to consider the voice of the Good Shepherd. You know, Easter Sunday, for, some people is a very triumphant Sunday, but there's a lot in there that is actually a little confusing, a little disorienting. This rising from the dead hasn't actually fixed my life. It's still kind of a mess. And how strange that the risen Christ, whom we want to be triumphant and victorious and strong, comes instead on the second Sunday, every second Sunday, and say, touch my wounds. See them here? So this resurrection time, it's not so clear, the path of resurrection. My own life doesn't reflect the orderliness I wish it to have. And so Eastertide can actually be a little discombobulating. Besides the head questions of, did Jesus really rise from the dead? There are the heart questions of, how am I going to get up in the morning? So it's time on the fourth Sunday to hear the voice of the one who would call us each by name. But what is that name? What is your name? Who gave you the name by which you most often call yourself? Some people are given a name by all this great work of, reading the children's name books and creating a spreadsheet or multiple spreadsheets. I've met someone who did that. where they made 5 spreadsheets of names because that name is so important. Sometimes we're named after a relative. Sometimes we're named after an aspiration. And sometimes life reveals itself and we choose another name. One by which we live into the integrity of who we are becoming. Names have power. Throughout the Bible, we see that names have power. You know the name of a demon, and then you can bind it. And so what is this name that the Good Shepherd is calling each and every one of us? Well, we can know this name by its very opposite, the thief. The thief does not go through the sheep gate, does not have the keys to that gate. The thief slinks over, oozes over the fence, slides through the crack, manipulates into the sheepfold, and it comes to steal, to devour, destroy. What names do the thief have for us? What has stolen from you? What joy has been taken from you when a name was given to you? Does a thief say something like, loser, you don't belong here. You're not enough. That is the thief that steals. Intention to take your joy, take your life, make it meager, make it timid and weak. Tells you to grow small just to survive. So this is the voice of the thief. Have any of you ever known a voice like that? We've all known a voice like that. So we sheep in Eastertide are being asked by the Good Shepherd, hear my voice. Listen to me. How do we hear? How do we hear the voice of the Good Shepherd when the voice of the thief has trained us so well to latch on to it, hook us? I think it takes at least 2 things to know the voice of the Good Shepherd. But before then, let me tell you what I believe is your name. What I have heard from the Good Shepherd myself. What my name is. Beloved. The voice of the Good Shepherd, the name that the Good Shepherd gives to us, each one, is beloved. And once you know that name, that is yours, you will know the name that the thief calls you, because they do not sound like that. So this discernment is critical on how to know your name. It's hard. It's not so simple. You think like, oh yeah, that's bad and that's good, right? But we're so trained by these voices that we grow up with. And they're sometimes given to us by the people who are supposed to love us the most. I remember one time someone in my family said something incredibly cruel to me. And I remember how they smiled when they said it. And I was just so struck to my core that I had to walk into the other room and close the door because I did not know what I was going to say or do. And so I went into the room and I hyperventilated a little bit like this. And then I'm like, okay. So the two things I want to say is that to know the voice, you have to, one, really get silent. And then second, do the discernment. You can't really discern sometimes without getting quiet. So I just spent some time in silence, trying to calm down, because I had a week to go at this family thing. And so once I got quiet enough, I asked the question of discernment. Who am I? And mind you, it was a lot messier when I was doing it in the room. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And then I'm like, okay, who am I? You know, it's very hard when it happens in the family, because the family often tells you who you are. And you have to actually quiet down that voice as well. And that's deep, not just in my generation, but on all the generations that pass along, there's sometimes voice that takes away life. So in that moment, I asked myself, who do I know that I am? And the side questions, the questions that will take you sideways is, well, who's right? Well, they don't. You know, those get you hooked and they take you sideways. But the question of who am I? And the answer is your name. Beloved. Beloved. Not what you do, not what you do better than that person that said this to you. Not that. But just the ontological reality of being beloved. That's your name. And in the Gospel of John, we hear the mention of the beloved disciple here and there, and we always wonder who that is. Of course, it's us. It's you. It's you. It is your proper name, beloved. So on this fourth Sunday of Easter, let us hear the one who woos us. Oh, beloved, listen to my voice, and I will lead you through the gates into the green pastures for you to feed as much as you desire. I will water you at the clear streams, and you will quench all of your thirst. Come, it is for you, beloved. And when you are lost in those places of chaos and danger and destruction, among the voices that keep whispering and whispering and coming for you, I will be there. I will come for you in those dark and shadowy valleys. And I will lift you up, and I will carry you on my shoulders. And I will take you home. And where I will be, you will also be, beloved. So, beloved, listen, receive your name, beloved. Amen.